All signs point to both Dustin Wolf and Nazem Kadri having huge seasons to prove themselves worthy of a shot to compete at the Olympics, which could be fantastic for a Flames team that wants to win. Those two are already the Flames' two best players from last year, so what more do they need to do? The Kadri scenario is very interesting. We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay updated on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And let's start with Wolf, because he has, I guess, the newer news, the news that is coming out today. And like I said in the intro, this is going to kind of revolve around the Olympics, and I feel like you kind of already know where this is going. But Team Canada, they already announced their, I guess, preliminary roster for the 2026 Olympics in Italy. And Team America has come out with their Olympic orientation camp. You can go through, you can pause, look at the forwards, look at the defensemen. There's 0 Calgary Flames in there. But the one position where the Flames had a chance was defense. Not defense, sorry. It was goalies. And, well, there's no Dustin Wolf there. So 4 goalies were selected, but Hellebuck makes sense. You know, he wins the Vezina every year, can't do it in the playoffs, that kind of guy. Ottinger makes sense. We as Flames fans know what he's capable of. Jeremy Swayman makes sense. He won the Vezina not too long ago. Did he win the Vezina? No, that was Allmark. I'm not too sure. Either way, he's kind of good, but kind of watch. And then Joey Decord makes this orientation camp as well. I guess he's more experienced, but I mean, I would argue Wolf is better than at least 2 of the goalies selected here, maybe 3, and hopefully one day all 4. But very interesting that Wolf is left out here. That's not exactly what a lot of people thought they would see. And if you missed yesterday's video, please go feel free and watch it. It was all about Dustin Wolf, and we did touch on, you know, I guess his aspirations and thoughts on potentially going to the Olympics. It wasn't an interview with Wes Gilbertson. The article is from the Calgary Herald, but this is one quote that Wolf said about the Olympics. So Flames goalie Dustin Wolf last week said, "I haven't heard anything or been told anything. I'm going to have to be one of those guys who shows out early in the season to earn my way on that squad." So in no way to him is this a surprise that he wasn't named, because he hadn't heard anything. You think for sure he would have heard something if he was going to be, you know, on this preliminary roster here. But no surprise to Wolf himself that he wasn't named. I'm not shocked either, just because of his age. He is really, really good, but usually when it comes to the Olympics, you go for some of those guys anyway. But Wolf knows there's a chance that he could play really well for the Flames early in the year, which could help the Flames win a lot. Of course, how could he possibly play better than he did last year? But it could help him earn his way to a spot on that Team America, which would be quite interesting. One little word here as well from Flames prospects. They said Decord over Wolf is certainly one of the decisions of all time. There were actually a lot of Flames fans on Twitter that were just, you know, in an uproar over that decision. To see Decord especially over Wolf is quite interesting. But again, a lot of the time experience goes that way, and it's not like it's impossible for him to do it. Wolf also said in that interview, you know, you only really get 3, maybe 4 shots at it if the NHL even agrees to let their players go to the Olympics. So he really wants to work hard to ensure that he has a chance. Even if, you know, you aren't the number 1 guy, there's a chance you still get to play to represent your country, which is super cool. But yeah, all signs point to Wolfie maybe playing a little bit better, if that's even possible, in order to potentially make the Olympics. And the other guy who we have to talk about when it comes to that is, of course, Nazem Kadri, because he has been very vocal about, you know, him not being selected to Team Canada's. And people are saying interesting things. He himself is saying, yeah, I deserve a shot. What's up with this? Why was I invited? And then other people are starting to say certain scenarios of how he can get there. Now, Jim Parsons, this is from a few days ago now, but he wrote an article that brings in the potential of maybe Kadri needs to get traded to a contender in order to get recognized, which is crazy, and in no way do I agree with it, but we'll explore it anyway. So Nazem Kadri made it clear this week that he wasn't thrilled with Team Canada's decision not to include him on a long list of several names invited to Hockey Canada's Olympic orientation camp. The 34-year-old Calgary Flames center is coming off one of the best seasons of his career, tallying 35 goals and 67 points in 82 games, yet the call to try out for the team didn't come. He was, frankly, quite surprised. I feel like I deserve a chance, Kadri told The Athletic on Thursday. I think over the last few seasons, I've certainly proved that with my statistics and the winning pedigree. I think it speaks for itself, which is all fair. The stats are there. Some of the guys that were invited just don't have Kadri stats, and they're on stacked teams. So Kadri has a point here for sure. Unfortunately, he's not done a lot of winning in Calgary since he joined the team in free agency. Hasn't made the playoffs, of course, but he has that winning pedigree. He has the cup in that cup run with the Avs where he played really well. So does not playing for a contender hurt his Olympic chances? Interesting. On the surface, the idea that Kadri was excluded because he plays for the Flames sounds biased. After all, Weegar was invited and he plays for the Flames too. That said, there are a lot more forwards to choose from than defensemen, and with the Flames not currently a serious Stanley Cup contender, it's fair to argue that not playing in postseason games limits how much those making this list got to see him in recent meaningful games, which is fair, but you look at some of the other players. Being on a high-profile contending team could give Kadri the kind of stage that makes his selection nearly undeniable. Despite having won a Stanley Cup with the Avs in 2022, timing and circumstance may be working against him. And this is, I don't know, it's crazy. If this matters, there you go, one has to wonder if Kadri's Olympic hopes could be tied to a trade. A move to a contender, a team with a stronger playoff profile, would not only place him on a winning roster, but also put him in the spotlight in front of national team selectors. His name has been in the rumor mill for most of the summer, with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens both reportedly interested. At the very least, reports are he'd be willing to move to either club if presented the opportunity. No idea if that's true or not. That's, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure. But overall, it's really, really interesting. Does it matter that much? I feel like Olympians from the past that have played in the NHL haven't been, on the team that won the cup the previous year, or at least a playoff contender. So it's weird. So if it means realizing his long-held Olympic dream, one has to wonder how long the Flames can continue losing before he starts to wonder if a trade would be best. Ultimately, Kadri knows the path will be challenging. He said this: "Honestly, man, it would be an absolute dream come true to somehow crack that team." He said, "I've been a long shot before. I'm looking forward to giving myself an opportunity, but I understand I'm going to have to play well." He played well last season, so maybe that's not enough. Playing well on a team that the selection committee is closely watching because they're in the mix might up his chances to get on their radar. And again, it's a very interesting take. I don't think this would be the ultimate reason why Kadri would be traded. Yeah, trade me, force a trade me so that I can be on, Team Canada at the Olympics. It just doesn't make all that much sense to me, if I'm being completely honest. Sure, you can get a little bit more exposure, but that's just not the way it works at all. So either way, it's interesting overall. A Kadri trade could still happen, but I don't think it would be, with the Olympics at the forefront. But then again, crazier things have, of course, happened. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do here on the channel. It comes from yesterday's video about Wolfie, and the comment comes from good old Guitar Memoir. They said, "I love it. 8 years, I hope, for, of course, a contract for Wolf. I would like to see an avalanche of our prospects live up to their potential and grow together over the years to establish a dynasty. Hey, why not dream big?" with a little winky face there. And it is dreaming big, but we really do have our fingers and our toes crossed that a lot of these prospects do live up to the hype, and they can build such a great core and establish, of course, a dynasty. So many cups coming to Cowtown in the next decade or so. We can only hope. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.